Welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. It is the week of August 5 through 11. Remember what I said last week? The dog days of August. You know, I don't know where that expression came from. I don't even really know exactly what it means, but I remember as a kid, my father would say, well, it's the dog days of August. Everybody just kind of kicks back and doesn't do much. And I always thought to myself, I wonder why. I know I was 16 years old. I couldn't quit going to work because it was the dog days of August. I was working as a box boy in a supermarket. I still had to go to work. I couldn't just stop. Oh yeah, we would all like to kick back and relax for a month a year. But have you ever thought about this? Most of us don't even work more than 5 or 6 months a year in terms of real work. So let's not let anything get in our way in the month of August. This week, which is week 18 of the Mike Ferry sales system, I know some of you are saying, holy smoly, when do we get to the end of the Mike Ferry sales system? Let me share something with you. About 88 to 1990. 1988 is when I first created coaching as we know it in real estate today. And I am very proud to tell you guys and gals, we are the founders of real estate coaching in real estate. I don't care what anybody else tells you. We started it in San Francisco at the Fairmont Hotel, which is on the top of Nob Hill, in October 1988. That's when it started. So anybody that says to you, I started real estate coaching, tell them their name should be Pinocchio. Their nose should shoot off the front of their face because they're not telling you the truth. Well, when we started this real estate coaching, I sat down after a few weeks of doing the coaching with the original 30 people. And I started outlining exactly what they needed to know to build a business. And of course, time management, prospecting, lead follow-up, pre-qualifying, listing presentation, handling objections, closing the sale. That was the 8 steps we started with. Well, as the evolution of coaching continued, as the evolution and growth and development of great people like yourself continued, we learned that there was a lot more to becoming a top producer, being successful, than what meets the eye. And the evolution, where I started then saying, okay, we then have to add to that the administration of a transaction, because that has to be done. We had to add to that staffing. We had to add to that customer service. Well, you can see we went from 8 or 9 up to 21 steps in the Mike Ferry sales system, which we have today. Here's the good news. In 2 years, there may be 24 steps. Because as you keep growing and progressing, we keep learning more about the things that have to be done to make your business better. So here we are on one of the most difficult parts of the Mike Ferry sales system. Here we are, week 18, tracking numbers. So I guess the first thing I have to say is, did you write a business plan last week? Did you create some accountability partners? Did you even look at the numbers that are required to make your business work? If you didn't, we need to look at that. I'm going to read you something. The fastest way to learn who you are as a real estate salesperson, your strengths and weaknesses, your level of efficiency, and what it takes to succeed is to track your numbers. Whoa. Boy, there's a lot said in that simple statement, isn't there? Now watch. The fastest way to learn who you are as a real estate salesperson, your strengths and your weaknesses, your levels of efficiency, what it takes to succeed is to track your numbers. Okay. Who you are as a real estate person. Remember I mentioned to you last week the word motivation. Motivation. I have a motive, I have a goal, I have an objective, I have a plan, I have a dream, I have a passion. Motive. Action. What I'm going to do to make that happen. The fastest way to know who you are in terms of motivation, your strengths and weaknesses. Okay. If you look at all the things we've talked about over the last 18 weeks, what are your strengths? Okay, let me just do something here kind of fun with you. Okay, time management, strength or weakness. Prospecting, strength or weakness. Past clients, centers of influence, strength or weakness. Lead follow-up, strength or weakness. Pre-qualifying, listing presentation, pricing property, handling objections, closing skills, negotiating contracts, working with buyers, administration, staffing, customer service, business planning, and now tracking numbers. Have you identified your strengths and weaknesses? Because see, when you track your numbers, your strengths and weaknesses show. Now, why do we not track numbers? We don't want to know who we are. We just want to do our couple deals and get a few commission checks and pay the bills and work, from week to week. And is that the kind of life you really want? I don't think so. Watch. Your level of efficiency. Remember the example I gave you last week about the 100+ meeting we had back in the early 1980s? and Mary, 75 listings taken for 150 presentations, the lack of efficiency. And then I gave her 3 very simple suggestions that she could dramatically increase her efficiency. One of the great agents in the country is a man down in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Florida, named Mike Dart, a Century 21 agent. Very, very, very good. I had the good fortune of coaching Mike. I've shared this story many times. When I first started coaching Mike, he was going on 40 listing presentations a month. Now, just saying that to you, I'm sure puts some of you into a catatonic state. I haven't done 40 listing presentations the last 2 years. How could a guy do 40 a month? Mike was doing 40 a month and taking 21 listings because of it. So we started working on his efficiency. And what we got it down to was going on 25 listing presentations a month to take 20 listings. Watch your level of efficiency, what it will take to succeed. You track your numbers, you're going to know what it takes to succeed. Let me give you an example. When I started in real estate back in 1742, that's what it feels like at times, and my broker, who you've heard me refer to, Pat McVeigh, said, you better keep track of what you do. I said, how? He said, well, that's not my problem. Well, I was one of those unique animals in real estate that actually worked every day. I didn't drink coffee, I didn't eat donuts. I looked like I may have, but I didn't. I went out to work. I had to provide an income. Watch, I had a wife and I had 3 kids. I had to provide an income, period. I had no choice. I had left a job making a lot of money. I had to provide that standard of living, so I went to work. Well, what I discovered very simply was this, that if every day, at the end of the day, I wrote down how many hours did I prospect, how many leads did I generate, okay, how many contacts did I make, how many appointments did I go on, how many contracts did I get signed. And at the end of each day, I would write those things down. Then at the end of the week, I would total them up. Wow, this week, I actually prospected a total of 15 hours in the course of those 5.5 days. And I actually made 142 contacts. Wow. And I actually generated 5 great leads. I went on 3 appointments and I got 2 listings signed. See, I could find out what it takes to succeed by tracking my numbers, because if I want the same result next week, isn't it obvious to think that I would do the same thing again next week? So that simple thought, the fastest way to learn who you are as a real estate person, your strengths and weaknesses, your levels of efficiency, and what it takes to succeed is to track your numbers. Now, I know that the majority of all real estate salespeople are what we call numbers challenged. I want you just to go ahead this next week, between now and when I see you next week, and just simply track everything you do. It may not make a lot of sense. It may be confusing. It may be discouraging. Maybe you'll be excited. I hope you are. But with that, I will tell you that if you will just do it for the next week, this concept of tracking numbers will make sense to you. Now, obviously, if you are involved in our coaching and we have a numbers analyzer that you're using, watch, typing in or writing in 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 isn't very motivating. Why do people not use our numbers analyzer? Because they don't want to write in zeros all the time. Interestingly enough, and this happens every week, here's some of the best real estate people in the world involved in coaching, and we work with them to use the numbers analyzer. And listen to this. Okay, I had 10 appointments last week. They try to write in this little tiny box, 10, T-E-N. I mean, some people are numbers challenged. Are you numbers challenged? If you are, track what you do, because it may not make sense today, but it'll make sense in a few weeks. See, the one thing we have to understand, numbers do not lie to us. If you told the truth in what you wrote down, the numbers don't lie. See, if you write down I prospected 2 hours in the last 5 days, and I made 20 contacts, and I got 1 lead, there's no fibbing there. It's a fact of life. Unless you lied, and I don't believe you would lie. There's no advantage to you to lying to yourself, to lying to your broker, to lying to your coach. But at the same time, I tell people all the time, don't complicate the process. Watch. How many hours did you prospect? How many contacts did you make? How many presentations did you go on? How many listings did you take? How many listings sold? How many buyer-controlled sales? How many closings? The simplicity of the whole thing. Now, the truth is, when I looked at that opening sentence that I read you about telling you who you are, the key to that sentence was the word efficiency. Excuse me, people ask me all the time, how do I become more efficient? And the way to increase your efficiency comes down to two things. Obviously, if I increase the amount of numbers I do daily, it will increase my efficiency because the numbers always work in your favor. Or second, if I increase the quality of what I do. See, if you really do get better at your prospecting skills, if you really do get better at lead follow-up, if you become more intense in pre-qualifying, if you get stronger in your listing presentation, the quality of your work is going to pull you to another level. Then if you add to it by increasing the numbers involved, guys and gals, there's not a reason in the world that you can't have the greatest September, October, November, and December of your entire real estate career. So I'm going to challenge you. Would you like to have the best Christmas possible for you and your family? If the answer is yes, then let's increase our quality and increase our quantity simultaneously. Track your numbers. Look at yourself as to who you are. Be honest in your critique. Write down everything you do. Talk to your coach about it. Talk to your manager about it. Talk to yourself about it, and you're going to see a better Christmas. See you next week.